Good day everyone. In this video, I'll be demonstrating why it's so important to be using fresh beans to make espresso. This is the Breville Barista Express BES870, but this will probably apply to every coffee machine there is with a portafilter handle, and it'll apply to you if you grind your own beans. So, the beans in there are pretty stale. They are supermarket bought, and they have been opened a few weeks ago, so they have run out of their freshness, and I would say they're not suitable to be used anymore. I'll try to dose and grind pretty quickly, but I want you to focus on the way the coffee comes out and the pressure that we're getting. And I'll try to keep as many variables as possible similar between the two runs. So I'm going to be using stale beans now, and then in the next coffee, I'm going to make the coffee using fresh beans, or fresher beans. Okay, portafilter. I'm going to tear my scale, and I'm going to try to grind 18 grams into this basket. I'll try to keep this section as quick as possible. Grind size number 5. I'm going to try to keep everything as close to similar as possible. That's about 8.5. I'm going to do it again. Hopefully we can get close to 18 grams. Let's see how much. Okay, my distribution technique is not the best, but it's passable. And I'm going to try to do this with one hand, so bear with me. Okay. Just a little bit more to make it 18 grams. 17.5. $17.9 grams. Close enough. I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to try to distribute it properly with my palm and my fingers before tamping. And tamp nice and firm. That's my puck. It's pretty well distributed, well pressed, and about 18 grams. So we'll lock it in. I've already run a few blank shots to warm up the coffee machine and my cup, so everything's nice and piping hot. I'm not sure what calibration this, but double shot button, I think it's about 40 grams, but we'll see. I'll leave it as is because that's not important. So I'm going to tear my scale 0 and make a coffee. Keep an eye on the flow and the pressure gauge. I'm going to time it as well, just for reference. Okay, 4 seconds, 4 to 5 seconds from 0 to this many milliliters. That's 30 milliliters. That's okay. Usually I aim for 36, but that's okay for the sake of the video. 30 grams. So that's 18 grams in, 30 grams in 5 seconds. Look how little crema it has. And as you saw, the pressure was pretty low. I don't think the pressure registered at all. And the flow was black, quick, almost like a river. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to change the beans now. And actually, I'm going to show you how to change the beans. So you remove the hopper. You dump the beans in the bin or whatever. I'm going to dump them in the bin, because these are disgustingly old. And before adding the new beans, you want to get rid of the old beans. And the way you do that is you just run it. If you have a vacuum cleaner, use the vacuum cleaner to vacuum out the beans, and then run the grinder to get rid of the old grounds. I'm just looking for, let's use this cup to discard the old beans. You want to click? Do this again until it runs out. Great. Now, put your new beans. I think these are the Aldi brand of beans. The other one was, I can't remember the brand, but it's irrelevant. What's important is that you try your best to get fresh beans, so either from your local roaster, from your local cafe, or from a supermarket if they sell freshly roasted beans. Some brands are better than others. So for example, here in Australia, the Aldi brand is quite good because it's made in small batches and roasted locally. Whereas Vittoria, I think they do it in big batches and they're almost always stale if you go with the Vittoria brand, for example. But with the Aldi brand, which is not a sponsor, the beans are quite good, and especially for the price. Okay, I'm going to dump this disgusting water out. I'm not going to bother cleaning the cup. I won't be drinking this shot, but anyway, just for demonstration, obviously you want to knock out your portafilter. I'm going to pause here. Okay, I've knocked out the coffee now. Before grinding the new beans, you want to keep in mind to purge. You want to purge the grinder because some of the old beans are still in there. I mean, some of the old coffee grounds are still retained. So you want to grind about 2-3 seconds worth and then dump that out, because this new batch, what I'm going to do right now, that's a mix of the new beans and the old beans. 3 seconds should be enough. If you want to do it more, just to be super sure. There will be a little bit of waste when you change beans or when you dial in your new beans. Yep. So this is the grind size at the moment. It's probably pretty irrelevant to show you, but I'm just going to show you if you're curious. Not Turkish fine, but not too coarse like sand. So just fine enough, I would say. I'm not going to change it. It's still at grind size number 5. My scale is tiered, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to try my best to keep it at 18 grams. I'm not going to change the grind size settings and the grind settings. Let's see. Almost 9 grams. I'm going to keep it there. Great. Let's see, before tamping that, let's see if that's enough. That's 17.7, so let's add a touch more coffee. Just so that it's on an even playing field between the two shots. 17.9 grams. As you see, same amount of coffee, same grind size, same machine. And I'm going to try my best to keep the tamping similar as well. So I'm going to distribute with my palm or my finger, doesn't matter, as long as it's relatively flat before you tamp it. You don't want to be tamping an uneven surface. Okay. And I'm going to tamp it the same way with the same pressure. A tip for the Barista Express: when you tamp, and you have 18 grams, the tamper usually goes as deep as the silver part. So this is 18 grams and the tamper is about this deep, approximately. Again, just like before, this is a... Oops. Sorry, I don't have enough hands. This is the same as before, the same distribution technique, and it's well distributed, well tamped, I would say. 17.9 grams, 18 grams, whatever you want to think of it. I'm going to lock in the portafilter to the same position, and let's use my scale. Now, if these beans are fresh, I should be getting pressure that's closer to about 12 o'clock and flow that's very nice and smooth and creamy, as opposed to the disgusting black water that we had before. Same button settings, we should be getting about 30 grams, plus or minus a little bit. These are the fresh beans. Keep an eye on the flow and the pressure gauge. Pressure gauge immediately goes up and goes to 1 o'clock, which is perfect. That's about 9 bars. The flow is nice and smooth. As you see, it's not a disgusting black mess, and it's much more controlled, I would say. And it stopped at about the same level, so we should be getting about 30 grams as well. But as you saw, I forgot to time that, but I think that was about 20 seconds. That's about 25 grams. I'm probably going to need to recalibrate the button, but anyway, as you see, we have much more crema. The flow was much more smoother, the pressure was higher. Exact same settings all across the board. Maybe it would have ran for even longer if I kept it going using the manual mode or something. But yeah, of course, I didn't taste the other one, but I can bet that it was pretty disgusting in taste. This one smells better. It probably tastes better as well. Yeah, that's a drinkable shot. Yeah, so hopefully this makes sense. Fresh beans are usually, they usually have more gases, and that's what people refer to when they say freshness, to keep the freshness of the beans or something like that. So they have more gases and more oils, I would think. More gases, and that helps them with extraction. That helps prevent the water from going through too quickly. That gives you more crema. It gives you better taste. And yeah, hopefully this was a good demonstration to tell you guys to use fresh beans. I mean, look, it's pretty hard because fresh beans, usually the fresher you go, the more expensive it is. And Breville, of course, they recommend going with freshly roasted small batches when it comes to beans. So they recommend you go to your local roaster and buy your coffee like that. But what many people don't consider is that that's much more expensive. So with fresh beans, here in Melbourne, Australia, I've found that they cost between $40 to $60 if you want freshly roasted beans. That's the average price, $40 to $60 per kilo. Whereas with supermarket beans, a lot of the time, if you go to Coles or Woolworths or whatever, it's about 10 to 20 per kilo. If you go with the Lavazza brand, maybe $25-$30 per kilo. So it's quite hard for many people to buy really expensive specialty or freshly roasted beans. So if you can, get freshly roasted beans from your local roaster or cafe. If you can't, just try to narrow down a supermarket bean that's fresh enough. I mean, of course, it's not going to be the freshest thing in the world. It's not going to be as fresh as a freshly roasted batch. But as you see, this is the Aldi brand and it's quite good. I've tried the Lavazza brand and they're quite good as well, but they're more expensive. Coles, don't even bother. Victoria, don't even bother. Yeah, hopefully you can find something that's suitable for your situation. And just remember, try your best to use fresh beans or a freshly roasted beans or a fresh supermarket bean, because the difference is very big, not only in the looks, but of course in the taste. Yeah, and look, it's sort of false economy when you get cheap beans, because you'll be wasting a lot of that kilo of beans, of cheap beans that you buy, just trying to get the flow right, which a lot of the time you won't get it right. If I went back to that old bean that I was using, the stale beans, and tried to dial it in and make the grind size finer, it would just be a waste of time, because it either would be too runny and black or too slow and clogging up the machine. So it's sort of false economy to go with the cheaper beans, because A, it's a bad experience, B, it's a bad taste, and C, at the same price you can probably find good, decent beans. So the Lavazza beans and the Aldi beans, I can find them for about $10-15 a kilo each. So I don't see the point with going with Victoria or Coles. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching.